one thing you notice that's just so shocking is in all this time, one thing that's been missing from them are questions. My family has not ever asked me anything. They've not ever asked me a single question. Never asked me about what happened, what are my thoughts, what do I need, what's going on. He said this, is that true? No, nothing. They never asked me a single question. Not only that, they never even talked to me about any of it. So they heard whatever they heard from him. Never checked anything out with me. If they had checked it out with me, they would have found out it wasn't true. Never checked it out with me, and just assumed they knew everything, even though they were talking to someone who they knew he was leaving me. A, they knew he was a narcissist. B, they even called him a narcissist. Not that they knew what it meant. I mean, they knew what it meant, like in lay terms, like, we knew, oh, he's a narcissist, but not like in terms of it being a disorder, because they are also narcissists. But they were talking about it being like it was as though they had just said he's arrogant, and they said that almost immediately after meeting him. But they loved him. They loved it. By now they know he was a sociopath, diagnosed sociopath. I think I even told him that back when it happened, and still they never questioned anything that he said. They never questioned anything that he said. And repeated it. I know they didn't question it because they repeated it. They repeated it to my friends. They repeated it all over the place. The thing is, when people are not asking questions, it's because they are really set on the story they want to tell. They don't want to ask questions because they don't want anything to interfere with the story that they want to tell. So, as shocking as it is to me to think that they would rather have told this story about their daughter than the truth, the truth was that I loved them, I was loyal to them, I'd never betrayed them. I have no idea what they thought I was going to say to anyone, but I never did say anything to anybody. I expected that we would be a family forever and ever, and I would take care of them when they were old, and that they would always have my back, and that's what I believed. And so I never betrayed them, ever. But they believed that I was going to, or they believed I had, or something. Whatever it was, they wanted to do what they did. They wanted to basically end our relationship and ruin my life. And so they weren't going to ask questions, they were going to interfere with that. You'll notice when people are not asking you questions, they're not asking, especially when you're talking about topics they can't possibly know the answers to, I mean, here I had gone through all these things that they have never been through. None of them had ever experienced anything like what I was going through. From the heart attack, to being married to a sociopath, to getting divorced, to being having an injury, to having all this legal stuff happening, to having, from the little things to the big things. I was even separated or going through a health crisis or going through a custody battle, even from those, they never experienced any of that. They've never experienced any of that. To the really big things, to getting arrested, to losing my son. To that, they have never asked me a single thing. How are you doing? What's this like for you? I can't imagine. What do you need? Never. Or, I heard this, or he said that. Is it true? Made up the story they wanted to believe and ran with it. And what is true is that everybody does that. To some degree, everybody does that. And that's why these smear campaigns and all this stuff works. Because if anyone was discerning, if anyone really checked things out, this wouldn't work. Because everything in all of these stories, in my case, the truth was always right there. It was always right there.